Welcome to Wager Talk today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. It's Monday. We are loaded. We got Game 7 baseball tonight. We've got 2 Monday Night Football plays. Yanni's going to kick it off with the Steam Report. Crackman's going to give us a Monday Night Football prop. And Steve Merrill's going to join us. We're going to break down both games, and we're going to talk about Game 7. It's a big day for bettors across every sport. We got you covered. Let's bring in Yanni, and you guys, please hit that like button. Algorithm boost time. It's time to boost that algorithm. Yanni, I know you're tired. Thanks for getting up. That's a long traveling day out to Vancouver.
Yes, sir. But starting a new weekend, coming off a losing Sunday, man. I had a losing NFL day. It was ugly after such a great day in college football. Lost in MMA, having a losing year in MMA. After coming off one of my best years in MMA, 2025 has not been good. But luckily, college football, still number one, had another winning week. I think I won now 8 of the last 8 of 9 weeks or 9 of 10 weeks, wherever we are in college football. Like I said, coming off a losing NFL week. But last week was my first college football losing week. Bounced back this weekend with a huge week. So I'm excited about the NFL ahead. We got 2 games tonight as well. Got a Game 7. So, it's a big weekend. Real quickly, going to dive into the Game 7 first. We're in uncharted territory. Like this wins, losses, the way it's going down hasn't happened before. I think only one other time in all of the Major League Baseball rounds has a series ever played out like this. Remember, the road team won the first 2 games in both series. Dodgers won the first 2 in Milwaukee, and Seattle won the first 2 in Toronto. That had happened 15 times in Major League Baseball playoffs. 14 of those times, the team that won those 2 games on the road won the series, like Seattle was able to do. But that just hasn't happened. It happened for the Dodgers. They got it done, but Seattle right now is not in a good spot. We know Game 7s, home teams, they're usually in that 60%, 60+% win rate long term. Obviously, home field advantage matters a lot. So this is a bad spot for Seattle. I'm biased. I have a future on Seattle, but more importantly, I've played this future horrifically. I didn't hedge before the series started. Instead, I said, let me take it game by game. I hedged by taking Toronto in Game 1 a little bit. Seattle won. That's a good thing. Took Toronto in Game 2 a little bit. Seattle won Game 2. That's a good thing. I said, now we're in such a good spot. Let's just sit back and let Seattle win this series. Well, that hasn't happened. And every time I went and hedged a little bit, I ended up losing. So now I'm in a difficult spot. I find myself where I have 40 units pending on Seattle, but I've already lost about 12 to 15 of those trying to hedge. So I'm in a tough spot in Game 7 where I shouldn't be. And this is just a perfect example that no matter how much experience you have, how seasoned you are at doing this, like that the market's going to throw curveballs at you, and you just got to try to minimize losses and maximize profit when that time comes. So I have a couple hours to figure out tonight's game. Here's what's happening. It's all one-sided Toronto money from the recreational bettors. And no surprise, they're the hot team right now. All the pressure is now back on Seattle, more or less, because Toronto's not even supposed to be in this spot, having lost, those first 2 games. It's being bet Toronto and the over as well. I haven't seen any betting syndicate money. So this line moving up from that 122 to 128, 125, 130, it's all public money related. It's all risk that's starting to mount on the Toronto side and the over as well. But both are public money related, recreational bettors getting involved, and we haven't seen the betting syndicate step up yet. It'll be interesting to see if we get any sharp money yet, but I haven't seen it. If anything, it'll probably be on some player props. It'll probably be on maybe a run in the first inning. That's the kind of stuff I've been seeing the accounts late. I haven't seen many signs. I haven't seen many totals at all in Major League Baseball playoffs. So again, I'm cheering in for Seattle, but those are for biased reasons, not a handicap.
Are you going to hedge? Are you
I'm going to have to a little bit.
You're going to have to. Yeah, you're going to have to.
Exactly. I'm forced to now because of the way I approached it, just to even if Toronto wins, just to limit some of that hedge loss,
Yeah.
I probably should have just taken Toronto when the series started because I had so much equity. But to have that kind of equity, 40 units, and not profit, that's amateur hour. Like, I really failed myself and my subscribers if we don't turn a profit. Like, now I'm hoping to be the product of good luck and have Seattle win. That's not a position as a sports bettor you ever want to be in, where you're hoping. Like, we're not in the hope business. We try to be in the certainty business. And the hope business is not a good thing to be in. And tonight, Yanni's in the hope business.
It's very well said. Yeah, I feel like I've been in the hope business for the last few months. It's not been a good run. I was terrible in UFC. I don't know anybody that made money on that card.
It happens. It was that kind of card. It was an ugly card. Yeah. The closing line value didn't matter. Even when you had the right side, the judges messed it up or the ref messed it up. Like, it was just one of those cards, Andy. You just got to sweep it under the rug. You've crushed MMA. You just got it. Like I always say, when in doubt, zoom out. Whenever you get buried like that and have a bad day, zoom out, look at your results. It puts everything back in perspective that you know what you're talking about. There's just a lot of randomness in the short term. Move on to the next one. Oh, real quickly, so don't forget, there's 3 free tennis moves up at WagerTalk. I released 3 tennis bets to my subscribers. Those lines move a lot, so I only put them out for like 2 or 3% plays and share it with them. We're going to have a little release for upcoming, a little announcement on some of those Steam moves with Johnny probably later this week, so you guys could get more access to them. But they're up there for free. There's 3 premiums that I sent to subscribers. There's 3% plays in tennis that go off late tonight or tomorrow morning. Now, NFL, Andy, favorites and over, no surprise in the Lions and Buccaneers. The Lions' risk just continues to mount. What's weird is the look ahead was 5.5, I think, and 53.5. We saw the line come down a little bit, then boom, boom, nothing but Detroit money. The total hasn't moved all that much from that look ahead, even though it's really one-sided. So you're getting a lot of Detroit and over money. I think there's also a lot of Detroit risk for money line parlays and teasers probably from yesterday. Favorites did okay. So it's going to be interesting to see if they bump this up to that key 7. I doubt it. I don't think that's going to happen. But the total not moving up is kind of telling. Like, to see some of a circa have 52.5 and DraftKings have 53.5, it kind of tells you at least where the sharper opinion seems to be on a lower scoring game, where the recreational bettors tend to bet these games over. So it looks like they're getting a little short money on that under in that first game. In the second game, it's sitting on that key number of 3. And we've seen nothing but Seattle money early on. Again, that's the later of the 2 games. So that usually money comes in as the day progresses, even after that first game kicks off. But I don't think that's going to change. I think you're going to continue to get Seattle money. I think you're going to continue to see Detroit money. The only key is, will they come off that key 3? Or will they ever get the 7 with Detroit, where I don't think so. I think as long as one of those dogs stick their head out, the books will end up doing just fine. Again, personally, I haven't taken a position on either of these games yet. I kind of like Detroit. That's what I used for bet on it. When we did the show, that was the game they gave me, the TV game to break down. I thought the Lions, decent spot to bounce back. But I mean, I don't know that I don't like where it's sitting at 6. I think that line should have probably moved already a little bit higher if it got any respect. So that worries me with the favorite.
There's one massive concern with Detroit. A Monday night game that the public is all over one side. That's a recipe for disaster. Yep. I get it. I know the stat, Dan Campbell and the Lions are insanely good after a loss and home and Monday night, but I'm pretty surprised that the Bucs aren't getting. I mean, Baker Mayfield's like, there's MVP talk. I just figured there'd be a lot of hype around this Bucs team tonight, but it's been one-way traffic.
And could I just mention, because I know we got Crack coming up behind, and I actually stick around to listen to what he's got to say. So I'm interested, especially with a Monday. But we got to talk about college football really quick, because I hate to say I told you so, but I kind of told you so. Eventually, the cream's going to rise to the top. And you got to really pay attention to strength of schedule. I never got so much pushback as I did when I talked about how Texas was better than Oklahoma, at least power rating wise. And they looked at me like I was crazy, like I don't even watch the sport. And then when I talked about the Texas Tech should not be that big of a favorite, they've had a very easy schedule. That's why they're undefeated. Again, I was talked like I was an idiot. I don't watch this stuff. I can't stress this enough. The rankings in college football are based on a record and nothing else, especially early on in the season. The fact that I looked up today and saw that Georgia Tech is the 7th team in the nation tells you everything you need to know right there. Do you know that Georgia Tech's not even in my top 30? Right now, Ohio State, I'm telling you right now, Ohio State would be a 3-touchdown favorite at least over Georgia Tech. So the fact Georgia Tech is in the top 10 is ridiculous, but they're 7-0. That tells you everything. Miami, how fake was Miami? A number 2. Why? Because they were 5-0. That's how you take advantage of college football. These overrated teams that are ranked based on their schedule. And then I look and I see Notre Dame. Notre Dame's down at like number 12, number 13. Bro, there's only like 2 teams that would be favored over Notre Dame on a neutral. Ohio State, Oregon, and maybe Alabama's a pick 'em to them. But the record means nothing. Like those teams, the Texases, the Georgias, Penn State, 3-4 Penn State would be favored over Georgia Tech by more than 10 points. I'm telling you that right now. A 3-4 Penn State team would be favored. Now that's maybe the books wouldn't make them a 10-point favorite because they got to manage risk. But if they brought them out at like a 7-point favorite, rest assured they would get steamed up to a 10-point favorite because most power ratings would reflect that. But I'm telling you, teams like Utah, teams like LSU, teams like Iowa, Washington, those 2 lost teams would all be favored over Georgia Tech. So be careful paying attention to those rankings. Use them to take advantage of the narrative. Texas A&M, number 3 team in the country. Are we what are we talking about? Are we serious right now? Texas Tech's barely in the top 10. I mean, Texas A&M. I'll tell you right now, I have them like 15th, 16th. So yeah, sorry. I just had to bring that up because I've gotten so much pushback the last 2 weeks, pushing back against these undefeated teams that I thought were phonies.
Well, I got to tell you, on Tuesdays, I've made 2 bets in a row I supported Georgia Tech going head-to-head against Jesse, and I won both of them. So I love my Georgia Tech team.
Go Georgia Tech.
Go Georgia Tech. They've been cashing some made up ticket for me going head to head against.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. What else do you got for us, Johnny? Anything else?
That's it. No. I'm already getting my week ready. Going to dig into the Monday night, see if I could confirm my strong leans, and then start looking ahead to the rest of the week. Excited back in Vegas. Stability. Don't have any trips planned, so it's back to the grind, baby. Back to the grind. Let's add some profit. And await college basketball and NBA. That's what I'm excited about.
Tell the UFC story about the van.
Oh yeah, here's funny. They have like I had the best access I ever had in my life. Usually they have a tickets for you waiting at will call, but they did us a solid. Like they put me down in the front row, like right behind where they were calling the fights. Like you don't even have a ticket for those seats. Like they just put tape with your name on it, and like your badge lets you down there. It was amazing. With that, I had car service back and forth to the arena. So they had a couple like tinted out Mercedes vans taking fighters, families back and forth. Long story short, in front of the hotel is nothing but fans. I've never been on the road with the UFC, so I never saw anything like this before. Dude, there's so many people waiting at the hotel in the freezing cold, even if it's raining at 2 a.m, hoping to get a glimpse of a fighter, a picture with a fighter, a sign, something. And they're all right there at our hotel because we're staying at the host hotel. I have to go back to the hotel. I'm all by myself in this van. We're pulling up. Dude, I see like a rush, no lie, no exaggeration, 50 plus people running to surround this van. All excited, cameras out, phones up, people like pens in hand. My driver comes out, opens that door. I've never seen such disappointment in the faces of so many people that it was me. Like they were waiting to see a world champion. They were waiting to see a Joe Rogan type. Instead, they got Yanni the Greek. And if you saw the look of sheer utter disappointment, Andy, my ego has never taken such a hit as on that night. It was unbelievable. Having to walk through that crowd that was like just pushing you out of the way, hoping another van pulled up beside you, was very humbling experience. Very humbling.
Didn't I see that guy make a parlay on Contender Series last week or something? Who is that guy? Who is that guy? What weight class does he fight in? That's great.
It was one
Yanni,
of those
that's a
humbling
great
experiences.
That's a great story. All right, Yanni's going to be locked and loaded. Check back here in a little bit once it gets confirmation on everything. Yanni the Greek, glad to have you back, sir. Have a great Monday. All right, we keep the show moving. Colin, I see you in the chat. You and I are ready for our bet tonight. Money is coming your way, so you definitely got the best of the number. We're locked in at 3.5. Colin has the Texans 3.5. I got the Seahawks at 3.5. So we'll see if we can see what happens after this game. I can't believe it's so late. The game didn't even start till late tonight. So I'm gonna stay up and watch that one just because Colin and I have a bet going. All right, let's bring in Bill Crackman. Bill, happy Monday. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, boy, Yanni is smooth as silk. I mean, he's great on these shows, and I've become a fan. I admit, I've never watched his shows before, but I know he's dealing with some of the biggest syndicates out there too, like myself. So you guys have a 1-2 combination here that's fantastic, and I love his stories and his energy. Great deal.
Let's see, Bill. Let's talk real quick about. Let's do a prop real quick. Let's give people some actionable info. I got some props coming up later. You got a prop for tonight. Which one are you looking at?
I was actually going to give a baseball prop, but I just got a football prop that I just put in. So Baker Mayfield on his passing yards. I'm looking anywhere from, I see Westgate's 242.5. 243.5 at the site, 245. I got to go by the sites that are availability, so put it somewhere in the middle there. Over on, and I don't like playing overs. Listen, I have graduated to the school of playing more and more over props. My props are still 70% under. Used to be maybe 80, 85%. However, I think Baker's in a good spot here. Primetime football. All his wideouts are back. I think this is a great matchup for him. It's amazing because the sharps I know, two different groups, are both on Tampa Bay, yet no lie, the money just keeps pouring in on Detroit. So I find it very interesting that this line is where it is, and they just keep on pounding Detroit money. I know one of the shows I do, the sponsor of the show is a big sports book, and they have a big presence in Michigan. And he said it's like 80% of the money. They cannot get anyone to bet Tampa. So I want to be on the sports book side. I want to tell you what else the sports books are going to be on tonight. The sports books are going to be begging for Seattle. Last night I seen the line come up at minus $1.12. Just because I have Seattle in a series bet to win the World Series, I'm not hedging anything tonight. I'm not even hedging anything, to be honest with you, in the World Series. So hopefully they get there and play the Dodgers. But I'll tell you, I was contemplating laying that $1.12 just based on, I know the public. I know the way they are. I know that they're going to lay the favorite. And I actually said it to a friend of mine last night. I said, this will be a scalp by the time the game comes. Now I see plus 117, 118. Silly on my behalf. I could have done that for a guy. I just know the public's going to pound on the next day. And we all know what happens. God protects the bookmaker. That's right. I know it sounds crazy, but God does protect the bookmaker in the end. I've said that on multiple shows, multiple platforms. And so I'll just tell you, I wouldn't be surprised to see Seattle pull this off tonight. But I know everyone, the momentum and everything is with Toronto, so I get it. It's just one game. Anything can happen. But so you have a couple games here that the bookmakers are going to be on. The favorites, Detroit and Toronto. Let's see if we could just go 1-1 on those. And with the dogs there, not really betting anything, and just a conversational sake. What I am betting is I'm betting a baseball prop. It's up on WagerTalk. I'm betting some other things, and Andy, it's been one of those seasons in the NFL, and I had a great day yesterday. I was 8-2. I think we were 8-2 on WagerTalk. I had a great day yesterday, and another winning week on WagerTalk. Nice winning week. College, having a great college season. Up like 12, 13 units, and NFL again, nice, another nice day. So it's tough though, man. Betting those NFL sides, people want them. No, I know. I did go 2-0 on them yesterday. I think I went 2-0 last week too. It's just tough betting NFL sides. I know everyone wants to bet sides though. I know that's the thing to bet. I focus more on prop betting. I'm going to put a larger percentage of my bankroll on the NFL player props, and I'm a broken record here. I say it every week. I go to the counter, and what can I bet on a player prop? I'll give you a perfect example. My buddy John Murray over there at Westgate, they're really good to me. I'm a max bet guy on player props. Same thing with Circa, max bet, BetMGM, max bet. I'm betting whatever they take. So it's a perfect example, though. Out of all three of those giant sports books, you can go there with a bag full of money, dump it on the counter, and say you want to bet the Lions tonight. And if you have $1 million on the counter, they're probably going to take $1 million. They have enough time to work with it. They're probably going to take it. Now, what happens on an NFL player prop? I can dump all that money out. Sir, put all that away. You only can bet $1,000. That's a fact. And that's just not only those three sports books, most sports books. You get a Mickey Mouse joint like DraftKings. If I show up there and I show that my eyes are open and they take my pulse and I have a pulse, sorry, sir. You only get $10. That's what I'm allowed to bet at DraftKings. So, and that's what I know. A lot of people have that same thing, and I know I say that at the risk with them, having to worry about a future show. My God, be careful, crap! Don't say that. Thank God in life I'm good, and I don't need your money, DraftKings. Thank God I don't need your sponsor money. So anyway, I'm just giving facts, just telling about how the reason why I say all these things. I'm just saying. When it comes to prop limits, there's so much more beatable. That's why they take so much less. So there you have it.
Yeah, DraftKings is a necessary part of my I have to have them. Living here in Indianapolis, I got a couple of casinos, but those are Caesars that they don't offer some of the things on DraftKings. But I will tell you this story, Bill. This was a funny one. So we hit Contender Series big the last 2 weeks on DraftKings. And I there's a rep here in Indy. I guess he's a VIP thing or whatever. I never hear from him.
Yeah.
So we hit Contender Series really big, and the next day he was like, "Hey, I put some boosts for the NFL in for you." So it's like, "Oh, we want this guy to bet NFL.
At least
we want him to bet some sides and totals."
At least you could still bet. At least you could still bet in your account.
It's true. I'm pretty careful with my draft. I'm pretty careful with all my accounts about how I do props and stuff to not get limited, because if I get limited here in Indianapolis,
you have to massage. You have to massage accounts, unfortunately, to keep them open. You have to bet NFL on Sunday. You have to bet things that look a little more square. Maybe throw some parlays in there. Throw some things that look like sucker bets. This way, when they look at your account, they say, "Hey, this guy's giving us a little of everything." Unfortunately, that's the way you have to keep accounts open. Yeah. But
yes. Yeah. If you go on a good run on props, you better throw like an NBA money line parlay or an MLB money line parlay on like the Yankees and the Dodgers, just to throw them off the scent a little.
And you can do that too, Andy, because if you just market cap, just to let you know, for people that are listening here, if you just market cap, just look at DraftKings lines against like Circa, Pinnacle, Chris. Which is, on the screen, there's Sports 411. But there's a couple other sports books. Just look against even FanDuel. The FanDuel market guys are pretty sharp there. FanDuel's definitely had sharp numbers, way sharper than DraftKings. So if you just want to make your account look better, just market cap and bet some things, maybe even take a couple cents loss on something on Sundays. You want to give them action on Sundays. NFL Sundays, sides too. You want to give sides. You want to look like a complete, a piker. Yeah.
Go put in the Lions tonight. That'll be a good one to check for the public. Like wait right before, get the worst of the line. That kind of thing.
I still can't bring myself to do that. I just gotta, I still gotta bet something of some value. I feel anyway, but these companies too, all of them. This goes for all of them. Anyone that throws anybody out. How dumb are you guys? We're all back in anyway, just under someone else's name. How stupid is it? Now you have to figure out who we are. You have to give us a nice bonus. You may even get a call from a rep. Do this, do that. You're just going to be paying to let us play again. Thank you for that.
What do you have up for everyone on this Monday, Bill?
Well, I have, as we can see here on the WagerTalk site, I'm there. The passes. That's what I'm going to tell you guys to go. Not even 7 days. 7 days, $99. But the long-term passes, 30 days, $299. You should get the up to the Super Bowl. That's what you really need. I mean, that includes Super Bowl props. You should get a full package like that. But anything can happen in one day. Anything can happen in 3 days. Now I understand people like to do that, so it's a lower percentage. It's a lot less money. But like perfect example, I'm 44-31, so 60% on WagerTalk. You could have caught some of those 31 if you only bought one day. So my thing is like I said, I'm having a great season on these things and going to continue to. Here we have college basketball rolling around. We have NBA player props. Some great stuff in the works here. You guys should get on for the long term. That's all I can tell you.
Bill Crackman, thank you very much. Congratulations on the 8-2 day in NFL. It's a great day. Can't wait to see you again next Monday. Good luck on that prop tonight. Thanks, guys. Take care, Bill. Thank you very much, Bill, joining us every single week. We're going to do some overreactions, where the books won, where the public won. We'll do some prop and fantasy winners and losers. Only one play in the NFL up for me tonight. We're 5-4. Over the weekend and on Thursday night. Real bummer that we lost on Jaden Daniels because he got hurt. Otherwise, we would be looking at 6-3 going into Monday night. But we do have our Monday night best bet. If you didn't have the weekly pack, we always put our week pack up early so you get all plays. I recommend that. But if you missed out on that, grab the prop that's up for tonight. And we have a 4% cricket bet that goes off around midnight. What's hilarious is I think that Monday Night Football game still might be going on while we have a bet on a cricket game on the other side of the planet. So if you want 4% cricket best bet, I know it's not the most exciting, sexy thing, but man, those cash at a big rate. We're on a 37-21 run in those. We hit our last 4% winner, 4-1 on those. If you want something in the NFL game, grab that. We're having a pretty decent year in props. Really want that percentage up a little bit. Tell you every week we're aiming for 58, 57%. We're at 56% right now. That's over at WagerTalk.com. Let's have a big Monday tonight. All right, let us do Are We Overreacting? Pretty calm, slow week with Are We Overreacting? The Chiefs are Super Bowl favorites. I think they actually are in the betting markets now. I don't know how much of that's an overreaction or if that's just a reacting to what we're seeing. Dolphins should fire the coach. That's by far the biggest reaction from today. And then the Jets should start Tyrod Taylor. Again, I don't even think those are that controversial, but those are the three that I came up with. But not that big of an overreacting week. So let me know in the chat in the comments section. What's your favorite? Are we overreacting? Let's take a quick look at where the books won, where the public won. There wasn't a whole lot of big time everyone's on this certain play, but I will tell you Lions are going to be a big one where the books won, where the public won, depending on what happens there. Packers minus the points. Books won big on that one. Giants and the Broncos under. Wow. Kind of a tough beat. 33 points from the Broncos in the fourth quarter to get that way over the total. Public won on the Los Angeles Rams and Jacksonville under everything. Chiefs, everything. Patriots, everything. Panthers, Jets on the under. So there was a lot of really good winners here for moneyline parlays. We got some Survivor. And Dan, I see you there. Dan, we both made it through in Survivor. Congratulations. Dan went with the Chiefs. I went with the Patriots. Even though I won in advance, I still have a regret. It was always the Browns. It was always fading Tua in Cleveland in rain and wind. He was laughably bad. That one, And remember, I was beating the drum about the Panthers. I could have won that one, but just watching that Browns-Dolphins game, you could tell real quick it was just like, this one's over. But hey,
yeah,
we
but
advanced.
do you understand how heartbroken, Andy, you would have been if you lost in week 7 on the Cleveland Browns, on Dylan Gabriel's Cleveland Browns? Like, you wouldn't have been able to accept that. So I go with the biggest favorite. You take a little bit more of a cheeky play, but that was the right side the whole time. Were you nervous when the Titans jumped out to a lead in that game? Or were you just like, no, the cream shall rise to the top here?
No, it was one of those where you could tell the scripted plays looked great. And what I loved was how the Patriots just didn't get. This is the difference between a good coach like Vrabel and what they had last year. They didn't crack under that pressure. Tennessee came out with all the energy, and the Patriots were like, no, we're going to answer you. And when they answered right back, I was like, oh, Tennessee's just emptied out everything they have, and it was gone. I'll tell you where I was laughing, Dan, I was like, what if I would have taken the Panthers to fade Justin Fields and then they pull him and I lose to Tyrod Taylor? Which,
that would have been, well, I don't.
That would have been the worst.
Would have been funny, but as one of the commenters pointed out, Tyrod Taylor might have been worse than Justin Fields, which actually feels like that would be physically impossible to be worse than Justin Fields, who had a net negative 10 yards when he was over the pond. Not too great there. But Andy, I mean, this was just one of those weeks where it just felt like what was supposed to happen happened, except the teams who I decided to lay points with, like the Broncos, they win, they don't cover. So it was just like, it was a really good, this is the week when everything's going to happen the way that it should. However, it did not happen in the fashion it was expected to happen, if that makes sense.
Correct.
And that's why the point spread is that ultimate equalizer.
Absolutely. How many tickets had Denver? So in the contest, Dan and I are in about 9% advance. So that would have been a nice,
sizable.
Yeah, it would have been a nice. That would have been a really nice little cash on that one. But it was all Patriots. It was all Chiefs. When pretty easy.
Yeah, and look ahead for this week, and then we'll get Steve Maryland here because I know people want to get his thoughts on the Game 7 action tonight. And if you really want some deep dives by Steve, you can also check out the channel because he has a double gamer on the Monday Night Football games that we recorded last week, so you can get thoughts on both of them. I'll give you some thoughts on one here, but a little bit of a look ahead, Andy. This one kind of feels like an easier week to pick Survivor. One that kind of stands out to me of maybe taking a shot is I think the Ravens are going to win out of the bye here against the Bears. I think
okay.
Maybe you want to see a week where do we know if the Ravens are going to have a second half emergence? But if there's one team who I think is going to look much different than the first half of the season for them, I think it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. And it's a really good sell high spot on a Bears team who this is the hottest run that the Bears have had probably in recent memory. I mean, when was the last time you were talking about a winning streak for a Chicago Bears team and a winning streak where they look pretty good? So I think this could be a good fade spot for them. I'm certainly going to be having Baltimore Ravens down in some teasers, but I think they might even be a play for me as a Survivor.
It's a great one.
Andy.
It's a great one. I actually want to save Ravens, roll the dice. That I get that,
and see if they really do have that emergence.
If they start winning games, they are going to be a juggernaut later on. And they got home at Browns, home Jets in week 12. And the big one, if you're worried about that Thanksgiving week, they are home to the Bengals. The Bengals, okay, whatever. But Joe Flacco in December, I'm not really sure about that one. Colts are going to be the huge one for the Titans. We've used them, though. But
so
Falcons off of a loss. Home to the Dolphins.
I kind of like that. I can't believe it's Monday morning and Mike McDaniel still has a job. Like that feels like they're just punting. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the point of firing him? What are we going to do? Go out and start our hiring spree here in week 8? No, it's not going to happen. So I don't know. They looked so disinterested in that game, man. And not only because it was raining. I mean, there's a locker room that doesn't believe in their quarterback. And there's a coach who I have zero expectations or thoughts that if there's a guy who could bring a team back to a fold who's completely lost, Mike McDaniel in his capri pants aren't
Did you
the
see
guy
what he
who
was
I
wearing?
think is going to do that.
Did you see what he was wearing?
They lost so bad because he didn't get to wear his joggers. That's why because he wasn't in his joggers. That's why they looked so
big
awful.
ass hood and the sunglasses.
He looked like the Unabomber. He looked like the Unabomber, and all he has done is bomb Miami Dolphins fans.
He's a point spread bomber. Here's a sneaky one. I wanted to take the Panthers. What about the Bengals home to the Jets? That Bengals team looked like a brand new team, brand new life.
It's so funny because we always are like, well, this team isn't going to go 0-17. You know what I mean? Like we always say that about bad teams when you're trying to find the spot. Exactly. Are we sure about the Jets aren't going to go 0-17? They ain't looking too good there in New York.
I'm going to wait and see what the health is of Garrett Wilson. If there's no Garrett Wilson, I think I am taking the Bengals. They cannot move the ball at all in the slightest. But we survive in advance. We're down to just under 8,000 people in that contest. I believe we started with 36,000.
RW pointing out, I don't think Corey Hart's sunglasses at night had a refrain of he wears his sunglasses in the rain.
In the rain, in 40 degrees overcast rain. Just so ridiculous. So, all right, let's bring in. Somebody asked about, is there a book? Proxy, isn't there a book where if your players get hurt on a player prop, it cancels the bet? As much as I despise this rule, it's not just a couple books. DraftKings does it. BetMGM does it. I believe somebody said Prize Picks does it and such. And yeah, it's kind of thrown some chaos. We had unofficial client play that had to be voided because it got played on DraftKings. That was where he pulled the prop, and they voided it. Like, let's bring in Steve Merrill on this one. Steve, it should have been a loss. Our player got hurt early, and yet we had to put it down as a void because that's what DraftKings and BetMGM and all these other ones did. I really hate that books can just decide when to void a bet randomly because that gives them permission to do whatever they want randomly. They can just change the rules. That's the dirty secret about when they get to do stuff like that. So
yeah, it's a slippery slope. Slippery slope, we call it.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. So
don't catch falling knives and don't step on slippery slopes or don't interact. Yeah, I mean, it's always been if a guy starts or plays even right in a game, like the prop is action. And that's where Porter's brother that's banned from the NBA, he would play for a couple minutes for the Raptors and then stay under the total. And that's just how it is. I mean, I think you got to have uniform. The one nice thing about when Vegas was the only shop in town for decades is that they had the gaming commission and everything was kind of uniformed. But like you said, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM still is kind of Vegas. But, they've gotten so big now that they can kind of do what they want. And as you know, Andy, a lot of it's just customer service, customer retention. They'll give a little bit of a refund on bets knowing that they'll come back and play again. So there's a lot of marketing involved as well.
Yeah. I mean, even tennis. Different sports books have different rules for tennis. So you have to play them on the right books. It's ridiculous. All right, let's get into some actionable information. We're going to talk about the Mariners and Blue Jays, but first, let's talk about this Texans and Seahawks. I will tell you, I have a bet going with Colin in our chat. I have 3.5. I love the Seahawks. He likes the Texans. I am 2-2 in the Pick 5 contest on Bet Online. This will determine if I go 3-2 or 2-3. Money has come in, kind of making a big statement here. Seattle's down to -3 with the over-under at 41. How do you break this game down?
So this was the most public play of the week. And let me just disclaim, first of all, by saying that the public finally did well this week. They had lost 5 of the first 6 weeks in my video. Fading the public had gone 18-9, 67% this season. And in the 5 years I've been doing that video, and I pointed this out, is that it was the least public week I've ever seen. The public consensus across the board was very minimal, leaning towards several dogs even. And lo and behold, what did the public do? They went 3-0 on Sunday. So they were due for a good weekend, Andy. But once again, the consensus was at a 5-year low this weekend. With that said, of the 4 games that were public, the most public this week was the Seahawks. So we'll see if they go for the 4-0 sweep tonight. And here's what's funny. Of the 4 public plays this week, this is the one I didn't really disagree with. I don't know if that's good or bad. I really couldn't come up with a case for the Patriots-Titans. Public was all over New England. I wanted nothing to do with Tennessee. And when they were up early, I was like, maybe we should have faded the public there. And we saw how that turned out. Saints-Bears was the other public was on the Bears. I actually did think that was a spot to fade him that did not work out. I went 2-0 my other NFL best bets on Sunday, by the way. And then Broncos Giants. Giants were a real public dog Sunday, and I was tempted by the Broncos. I ended up putting it up as a free opinion only for everybody, and I was kind of glad I did because obviously they were never close to covering. So we'll see if the public goes 4-0. And I actually agree with the Seattle side, but as I pointed out in my video this weekend, it really depends on the number, and you just kind of hinted at that. We've had 3 and 3.5s popping back and forth all weekend long into Monday here. If you like Houston, you can get a plus 3.5. If you like Seattle, you lay -3. And there's about a 9 to actually, I'll say there's a 10% chance Seattle wins by exactly 3-9. The reason I say that is because this is a very low total. It's 41, very low total. And by the way, 41 is an extremely key number with over-unders. About a 3 to 4% chance this game lands on exactly 41 points. So you really need to shop around. There are some 41.5s out there for the total as well. So if you like the under, you get a 41.5. If you like the over, you get a 41. I would not be shocked if either the side or total lands exactly on the number tonight. As you can tell, I'm not huge on this game. I would lean Seattle at -3 or less. I think they're the better team. Texans defense has been fantastic. What are they giving up, like 12.2 points per game this season? I think that increases tonight. Looks like a good spot for Seattle at -3 or less. It's just I'm a little hesitant because they are a very public side tonight.
Yeah, this will be an interesting game. I watched the Houston Texans a lot, and this isn't even crunching numbers. It's just the eye test. I don't think they're that good. They've beaten a couple chump teams, and I'm just not sold on them. So the offensive line's a wreck. So we'll see how that goes. Game 7. We all love Game 7s. It's huge. Did a show with Andrew McGinnis earlier. He was wearing his Toronto Blue Jays shirt. So we got Mariners, we got Blue Jays. Yanni talked about how he's got a Mariners ticket that's got 40 units pending. He's trying to figure out how to hedge on it. You got Kirby for Seattle, who absolutely got shelled last start, but he was decent the previous 2 starts. I went back and looked. Kind of 50-50 how he rebounds. He's done okay after a bad start. But a lot of pressure here. And then you got Bieber for Toronto, 8.2 innings pitched in the playoffs. He's only allowed 4 earned runs. You got Toronto as a favorite. Not surprising. They have the momentum, if you believe in momentum, coming into the game. Big game. How do you break this one down?
Well, I was kind of hoping – I didn't have anything last night, but I was kind of hoping Seattle would close it out so we could talk about World Series instead of Game 7 here because it's hard not to like the Dodgers, first of all, in the World Series. And there are some advanced prices, by the way. They have the matchups for both series at BetOnline, and Dodgers are -245 against either Seattle or Toronto. FanDuel's got a much better price on the futures. They've got the Dodgers at -210 overall, -215 against the Blue Jays, -200 against the Mariners. I guess the thought there is if Seattle pulls the upset here in Game 7, they're a slightly stronger opponent. But this is going to be one of the biggest mismatches we've seen in the World Series, and I'm actually shocked that we can get the Dodgers at like -210 right now. So I will say, despite whoever wins this game tonight, go ahead and lock in the Dodgers at -210. One of the best teams in baseball ever coming into the season. They underachieved quite a bit. But as my Dodger insider and the great American Justin Brisky keeps pointing out to me, they are on a roll. He looked it up and said it was the lowest ERA in the history of September ever for a team. I haven't looked that far, but they were pretty damn good. And now that Ohtani is available to pitch, as we saw in Game 4 the other night, better look out. As far as this game goes tonight, Game 7, once again, I feel like these two teams are playing for runner-up, but they want to win the American League Championship Series. And I'm not a conspiracy guy, but if I was, I'd have to say MLB probably wants a Canadian-USA matchup. I can't imagine they want Seattle-LA. Toronto-LA is a huge matchup. I'm not going to say they're going to get some beneficial calls, but the Blue Jays are favored for a reason, and that's also because they've had a strong home field. Both these teams have had losing records in the regular season on the road, and they both were like 40 games above 500 combined at home. So, of course, what happened? Well, the road team won the first 4 games in this series. But we have seen things get back to normal a little bit the last few games. Seattle won Game 5 at home. Toronto won Game 6 at home last night, of course. So the home team is now 2-0 after going 0-4. I think that continues. If you're going to play this, you want to lay with the Blue Jays. The big concern for Toronto, and the reason they've had to go to a Game 7 here, in their 10 playoff games, their bullpen has been horrendous so far this postseason. And it's really remarkable they're even in a spot to play in the World Series. They're just 5-5 straight up in the 10 playoff games, and they have a bullpen ERA of over 6.0 in the postseason. Seattle 3.97, not great, but their WHIP is 1.18. Toronto's is 1.59, which is a terrible WHIP. So you could hedge the Blue Jays a little bit with the over tonight, over 7.5, over 8. We're not getting that key number of 7, though. As far as the pitchers in this game, George Kirby, as Andy Lang mentioned, is coming off a terrible start, giving up 8 runs in just 4 innings. Pretty solid before that. Something I point out a lot in my late season baseball videos and analysis. I like to look at pitch count, or more importantly, innings pitched at this point, because some of these guys have never gone this deep into a season. Kirby last year in the regular season went 191 innings, went 190 the year before that. This year in the regular season, he only pitched 126. So I do think he'll probably have a decent outing tonight. And then Shane Bieber, 12 innings last year and only 40 this year after coming back from the injury when he had 128 innings in 2023. So I'm a little lukewarm in the over for that reason, because I think both pitchers have solid outings here tonight. Therefore, I would rather have the side in this game, and I just feel like Toronto's going to advance. And while home field advantage in baseball might be a little overrated, it's really about batting last in the ninth strategically. There will be a little bit of a crowd element. And those of you that are old enough to remember the early 90s, I remember the old Sky Dome, Joe Carter and company. That place was rocking. And I think it will be a substantial home field advantage tonight in Game 7, plus the strategic edge of batting last in what could be a tight game. If you're going to play it, I would lay it with the Toronto Blue Jays minus $1.25, minus $1.30. But bigger picture, lay it with the Dodgers minus 210 to win the whole thing. I thought that price was going to be 3 or 4 to 1. By the way, real quick, if you're liking these videos, thumbs up, like. If you're liking the shows, thumbs up, like. Subscribe. Over 226,000 subscribers to WagerTalk TV. Can't be wrong. And click that bell for an instant alert. I've got a double Monday Night Football video up here. Gave you both the Niners and the under and Sunday night for free. We cashed again on Thursday with the Bengals Steelers easy over. Now 7-1 on the Thursday night prime videos. I'll have every weeknight college football game this week and all the primetime NFL games for free here. All you got to do is subscribe and click the bell. And hey, a thumbs up, like, keeps these videos coming as well here. And if you want my personal best bets, including a strong Monday night best bet between the Bucs and Lions, check out my page, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker, wt.buzz/SM.
So what Ohtani did the other, I was trying to think of a comparison, Steve.
Insane. I was going to ask you about that.
Okay, so here's what I came up with. Patrick Mahomes throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Bills in the playoffs, but then he plays middle linebacker and leads the Chiefs in tackles.
Exactly.
I
think it went better. It's just like a pick 6, right? I was going to say, well, it's, we might actually see that if the Jaguars ever get good enough, which we don't think is coming anytime soon, right? We could possibly see that with one guy that's in the NFL right now for Jacksonville, Hunter.
It's too hard. You cannot play. It's ridiculous playing both sides of the ball in the NFL. Most guys can't even complete a season on one side of the ball. This guy's supposed to do it on 2 sides of the ball. No way.
So Andy, Nemo Ho had a great comment. He said, why is Merrill wearing a Washington not his Washington Commanders shirt? I never thought about that. How great is that? And then I realized WagerTalk's 11 years old. So the Commanders are infringing. I think this is how we're getting back to Redskins finally. We're going to have a big old lawsuit. Going to get Johnny Detroit. I know Johnny Detroit knows some shiesty lawyers. He has to. So we're going to get in on this. But the reason I bring this up, you see all the Redskins stuff in the background. When I used to go games in the 80s, there would be an electric energy at RFK Stadium when Darryl Green would occasionally go back to run a punt. And I joked about that Bears-Commanders breakdown last Monday night. I said, I remember Green hurdling the guy, pulling the rib, and winning the playoff game at Soldier Field. But Gibbs didn't do it that much because of the injury risk, even on a punt return for one of the greatest defensive backs at the time ever. But yeah, it's a rarity. And what Ohtani did, it's a shame that these guys don't go complete games anymore, because he probably would have had a complete game shutout on top of that. But they pull him in 6 innings on like 2 hits or something, just because they're going to have him for the World Series. But that's another element. The Dodgers underachieved all season, but they've beaten, quote unquote, the 2 best teams already in the Phillies and Brewers. And now Ohtani's available. And my son Daniel pointed this out to me. He didn't even go to the dugout after 3 strikeouts in the first inning. He was handed his equipment to warm up hitting and hits a home run. It's beyond insane. And we keep saying like no one's ever done this, and he keeps doing it. It's really remarkable, and it makes it kind of like, if you don't even follow baseball, it gives you a reason to follow the World Series. Yeah.
I know we're talking about it, but I don't think people are talking enough about how true. Of course,
he got pulled to the 6th inning with 10 strikeouts. Like he only pitched 2/3 of a game. Like 10 years ago, that's a complete game, right? I mean, it's just like, what else could he have done in that game?
It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So, all right, Steve Merrill, thank you very much. Good luck on your bets tonight. Have a great Monday. Great breakdowns. Yeah, you can follow Steve on all of his solo videos on this WagerTalk YouTube channel. I have a Monday Night Football best bet that is up. It's a prop, my favorite prop that is on the board. It's 100% hit rate this year, so we're loving this bet. Go grab that one, and we also have a 4% cricket best bet. I know cricket, you guys probably aren't going to watch it. It's perfect. You set it and forget it. You wake up, and there's the money in the account. So go grab that. It's a parlay. It is on DraftKings fan. It's on all the domestic books. So you guys can grab that. And we're 4-1 on our last 5 4% cricket plays. Let's do all around the world. Let's do some props for tonight's game. And I believe we went over these on myself and Andrew McGinnis's show, Props and Parlays. That is up right now on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. We go through a ton of different props in all the categories, and we give you a 9-1 same game parlay for you guys. We talked about Jared Goff over 260 passing. Tampa is a top 5 rush defense, but a bottom 11 pass defense. Goff loves playing the Bucs. 310 yards average in 3 games against Tampa. I love this one. This is my sneaky one. A.J. Barner over 1.5 receptions. He only had 4 catches the first 3 games combined, but the last 3 games, 3, 7, and 3, 13 targets, 13 catches. Texans give up 4.4 receptions per game to tight ends, and he's been working close with Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp has taken him under his wing. You're starting to see the results. And then we're going to go with C.J. Stroud over 226.5 passing. C.J. Stroud's gone over this in the last 2 games after going under the first 3 games. Seattle's defense in the secondary is a little banged up. The last 2 quarterbacks against Seattle have gone over. And I like the game script. I think the Texans are going to be throwing if the Seahawks are up. So this number seems a little bit too low. So, all right, that's going to do it for us. Hit the like button. Leave us a comment in the comment section. And thank you so much for you guys joining us. Hopefully we're getting you ready for a week. It's a new week, new betting opportunities. Let's get the week started off with some winners tonight. We're going to be back tomorrow. Same place, same time. Hope to see you then. Good luck on your bets tonight. Take care.